What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Monday, June 24th. We survived an MLB Sunday, guys. We ended up going 4-3 on the day, so nothing too much wrong with that. We started things off very hot early this morning with the Phillies -1.5. That one came through comfortably. Unfortunately, the Pirates could not follow suit. We had the Pirates in that one with Skeens out there on the mound, and he just got absolutely no run support. He looked good out there, but the Pirates ended up taking the loss. We had the under in that Boston-Cincinnati game. That one didn't work out either. We saw tons of offense in that one. Neither bullpen looked good, neither starter looked good, so yeah, I guess you'll have that occasionally, especially on a Sunday. The Baltimore Orioles, man, they just apparently cannot hit the ball right now. Things are looking very, very weird in Baltimore. We got back on the winning track, though. We had the Cardinals -120. That one came through. We had the Nationals -130. That was a big come-from-behind win. Maybe not big, but definitely a come-from-behind win for them. And then we closed things out strong with our no-run first inning prediction there on Sunday Night Baseball. So a 4-3 day overall, not too bad. Let's see if we can keep things rolling here with a short Monday slate. Before we get into the games, do me a big favor and hit that like button. It's a great way to show some support for the channel and all the work we put in every single day. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing out on these picks. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description and go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking at today and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Baltimore Orioles. The Guardians come into this game fresh off of another win. They've won 5 in a row. They finished off that sweep there against the Toronto Blue Jays. We're seeing they're handing the ball in this one to Tanner Bybee, who's 5-2 this season with a 3.65 ERA. He's coming off of a fantastic start there against Seattle Mariners. Obviously not the hardest hitting opponent, but still 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs while striking out 12 is pretty impressive stuff. He actually has double-digit strikeouts in each of his last 2 games, although his start back on the 12th against the Cincinnati Reds didn't look amazing. He gave up 4 earned runs on 4 hits and 2 home runs, so striking out 11 loses a little bit of its shine there, but he's looked very, very good recently, no doubt about that. And in general, guys, the Cleveland bullpen has been pretty solid this year. They're sporting a 3.47 bullpen ERA, which is 6th in the majors, so feel pretty decent about how the bullpen is looking at this point. And the bats, they're looking hot right now, guys. They've scored 6, 6, 7, 6, and 8 runs respectively over their last 5 games. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, beating up on the Toronto Blue Jays, maybe not something to get too excited about, but winning 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners and scoring 14 runs over a 2-game stretch against them, that's pretty good stuff. We see Jose Ramirez is healthy and ready to go. Like, just in general, this team's looking good. Steven Kwan's getting back onto his, like the way he was looking before he hurt his hamstring. So overall, this is a very good offense, no doubt about that. They're hoping they can keep the Baltimore Orioles in the funk that they're currently in. They just got swept at Houston. Did not look good in that one at all. They're down to 49-28 on the season. So their record for the season is still looking pretty darn good. They're handing the ball in this game to Cade Povich, who's 0-1 this season with a 3.94 ERA, but this 24-year-old has looked very good in his last 2 outings, guys. I mean, first start of the year for him, he got off to a bit of a rocky one against the Toronto Blue Jays, but then he backed that up with a 6-inning, 5-hit, 0 runs allowed start against the Atlanta Braves, where he struck out 6 and walked none. Then he had a weird outing against the New York Yankees, guys. It's pretty tough pitching at Yankee Stadium these days. He went 4 2/3 innings, only gave up a single run, but he walked 5 and struck out 1. So, like I said, kind of a weird start. The Orioles bullpen is just in a free fall right now. They're getting shelled recently. Not a lot of positive things to say about them. So they're going to need Povich to make it deep into this game. At least, that's what it would seem like. Who knows, though? Maybe they're in for something of a bounce back. The Orioles bats have been insanely quiet over the last 2 games, guys, scoring 1 run respectively in each of their last 2. That is wild stuff from one of the best offenses in the major leagues. I mean, we see Gunnar Henderson, absolute monster. This team is first in the majors in runs scored despite scoring only 2 runs over their last 2 games. First in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, this is a great, great offensive team. I expect them to break out of this funk at some point. Will it be today? It's going to be interesting to see here, guys. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Guardians at +100, the Orioles at -110. We've got an over-under in this game of 8.5. We see Cleveland is 23-17 on the road, so not a bad road team at all. The Orioles are 25-14 at home, so a very solid home team. They're both teams here showing trends towards the over, so that's a bit interesting, and we kind of expect both offenses to continue to hit the ball well here. I don't think Cleveland's going to have a terrible time against Povich, but he's been good lately, so maybe they'll have a little bit of a struggle. We'll just have to see. In general, in this game, guys, I'm leaning towards the Guardians +100 to kind of keep this this tough stretch here going against the Orioles, but really, I've got no faith in basically I've got no read on what the Orioles are going to do. I have to see them either play really, really well or really, really bad again to know which direction this team's going in. So if you're forcing me to bet this game, give me Cleveland +100, but I will not be betting this one myself. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the Detroit Tigers. The Phillies come into this game fresh off of a 4-1 win there over the Diamondbacks, so thank you, Phillies, for getting the job done there. They're 51-26 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Aaron Nola, who's 8-3 this year with a 3.54 ERA. He's coming off of a slightly bounce-back start there against the Padres. I mean, he went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. Much better than that terrible, horrifying start he had at Boston back on the 13th, so it seems like he's back on track a little bit. I mean, the Padres have been hitting the balls a bit better lately. We also see that the Phillies have won 4 out of his last 5 starts, so nothing wrong with that. He's been very good in general this season. Everybody's going to have a hiccup start from time to time. The Phillies bullpen's been looking great. They've taken over that top spot. They're currently the best bullpen in the major leagues in terms of ERA, sporting a 3.09 ERA. Nothing to look down on about that. That is fantastic. One of the best bullpens in baseball right now, and their bats have, I mean, they only scored 4 runs there in Game 3 of this series, but they've scored 4 and 12 runs respectively over their last 2. It seems like they're out of that little mini slump that they were in. This team, yeah, they've got the hitters to make some pretty crazy stuff happen, guys. I mean, Bryce Harper's hitting the ball well. This team's 4th in the majors in runs scored. They're top 5 in every major hitting category. Like, I expect big things out of this Phillies offense every single time I see them out there. So, yeah, things definitely looking good for the Phillies right now. They're hoping they can keep things rolling, going up against the Tigers, who just managed to win 2 out of 3 against the White Sox. But, man, not exactly an amazing first 2 games of that series. They won 2-1, then lost 5-1, then won 11-2 there in Game 3. Not swinging the hottest bats, not at all. They've been having a pretty rough time lately. They're down to 36-41 on the season. They're handing the ball in this game to Casey Mize, who's 1-5 this year with a 4.43 ERA. He's coming off of, I would say, back-to-back good starts. I mean, he only did go 4 innings against the Atlanta Braves and gave up 2 earned runs on 5 hits. So, not amazing, but not terrible. He's been very good at not giving up the long ball, which is definitely something positive when you're taking on a team like the Phillies. Definitely something you want to look at. If you've got a pitcher that gives up home runs, that's going to be a tough day for him. In general, he's looked serviceable over his last 5 starts. We see the Tigers are 3-2 over his last 5 starts, but he's about to take on a very, very tough opponent in this game. So we'll see how deep he can make it into the game, how long he can stay out there. The Tigers bullpen's actually been pretty decent, sporting a 3.81 bullpen ERA. Not terrible, definitely above average in the majors, but not exactly a bullpen that I trust to be able to hold down the fort against a team like the Phillies. The Tigers bats have been a huge problem lately, guys. They are coming off a game where they scored 11 runs. They scored 11, 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, and 1 run respectively over their last several games. Like, just not a team that's putting up a lot of runs. They're down to 20th in the majors in runs scored, 26th in on base percentage, getting on base at a 298 clip. That is terrible. Their team batting average is 232, also not very good. This squad does not have a lot of talented hitters that I'm afraid of. I mean, Riley Green, I guess, is fine, but yeah, not exactly a guy that I think would be, top tier if he was hitting for the Phillies. So, looking at the numbers for this game, it's a little bit surprising to see the Phillies at only minus 164. We got the Tigers at plus 148. We have an over-under of 8 in this game. The Phillies are 19-14 on the road, so that's decent, not necessarily dominant. The Tigers are 18-20 at home. Being under 500 at home, a little bit embarrassing. We see mixed trends towards the over-under, and we've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Guys, I'm going to be taking Aaron Nola and the Phillies in this one. I don't think this is going to be a spot where we take the Phillies minus 1.5, but I definitely think the Phillies minus 164 is solid value. I expect them to win this game the vast majority of the time, and I don't really think the Tigers are going to be able to summon up enough offense to make this super duper competitive. Moving right along here, guys, we got the Seattle Mariners going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Mariners come into this game fresh off of a 6-4 loss there in Game 3 of their series at the Miami Marlins. They lost 2 out of 3 in that one. This road trip is not going great for them. I mean, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Cleveland Guardians. They're down to 45-35 on the season. Yeah, just not exactly where they wanted to be right now. I mean, they are atop their division and all that stuff is great, but yeah, they were playing a lot better before going on the road. They're handing the ball to Brian Wu, who is 3-1 this season with a 1.67 ERA. Coming off a pretty weak showing there at Cleveland, did not have a good time. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. Just a game that Seattle didn't look very good in overall. They lost 8-0 in that one. In general, he's been very, very good this season, but I've got some question marks about his health right now, and he's a young guy. We can expect some inconsistencies, so we're just going to have to kind of wait and see if he can get back to his dominant ways from early in the season. The Seattle bullpen has been pretty good all year long. I mean, they're 7th in the majors with a 3.51 bullpen ERA, so that's all nice. In general, this has been one of the best pitching staffs in the major leagues, but the bats, man, the bats are a problem. They've scored 4, 9, 2, 3, and 0 runs over their last 5 games. not exactly going to put up a ton of wins with those kind of numbers, even if your pitching staff, your starters, and your bullpen look great. They're tied for 21st in the majors in runs scored. They're 28th in the majors in team batting average, guys, batting only .221 as a squad. That is rough stuff. They're 25th and on base percentage, like just up and down the lineup, this is not a very good offense. We have big questions about how many runs they're going to be able to score no matter what starter they're going up against. They're hoping they can get something going here against the Tampa Bay Rays, who have suddenly hit kind of a solid stretch of play here. They've won 4 out of their last 5 games overall. They won 2 out of 3 against the Twins, then won 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. They are 38 and 40 on the season. Handing the ball in this game to Taj Bradley, who's 2-4 this year with a 4.06 ERA. He's coming off of a pretty solid start there, guys. Back-to-back pretty decent starts, maybe even 3 good starts in a row. Against the Twins his last time out, he went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, and only 2 earned runs. So, not the sharpest stuff. He had to pitch out of trouble, but he did a good job of that in that game. And he was on the road in that one, and now he gets to pitch at home, where he had a good start against the Chicago Cubs and a very good start against the then hard-hitting Orioles. So, in general, we like what we're seeing right now from Taj Bradley. The Rays bullpen, guys, not exactly the best. More like kind of close down there to the worst. So we have big question marks about this bullpen, but they're going up against the Seattle Mariners, not exactly the hardest hitting team in the majors. Honestly, guys, one of the lower rated offenses overall in my book. So looking at the Rays offense, are they going to be able to put up some runs? Well, they've scored 3, 10, 7, and 3 runs respectively over their last 5 games. Not terrible, not terrible. This is not a very good slugging percentage team, not a ton of power numbers coming out of them, but they're 23rd in the majors in runs scored. They're up to 21st in team batting average. So batting .235 as a team, while it's not amazing, is maybe not a complete disaster. And they're 17th in the majors in on-base percentage. Like, this is a team that can get on base. They kind of manufacture runs. That's kind of an overused term, but they do. And in general, this isn't an offense that I feel terrible about. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Mariners at -110, the Rays at -104. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. Kind of a tough spot here since we don't know what to expect from Woo. I do expect good things from Taj Bradley, though. I don't expect great things from the Seattle offense ever. So in general, in this game, guys, I'm leaning towards the Tampa Bay Rays -104 at home. Do I have enough of a read on Brian Woo right now to put this in the pinned comment? Seems a little bit sketchy, although, man, not a lot of faith from me in those Seattle bats. So I would say the Rays -104 is solid value. It's got a chance to end up in the pinned comment, but we'll just have to wait and see. This is also a very, very good spot, I think, for a no-run first inning play if you think that Woo is going to look good out there in his bounce-back spot. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Pirates come into this game fresh off of losing 2 out of 3 there to the Tampa Bay Rays. They lost game 3 of that series, 3-1. They're now 37-40 on the year, handing the ball to Bailey Falter in this game, who is 3-5 this season with a 3.74 ERA. He's coming off of a weird start against the Reds, guys. So his last time out was against Cincinnati. He was pitching at home in that one. He went 7 innings, gave up 7 hits and 2 earned runs. It's much deeper than he's gone into a game over his last few. He had a hard time against the Cardinals, hard time against the Dodgers, and then a pretty solid outing there against Cincinnati, albeit in a game that his team lost 2-1. Not really his fault there. I think we can look at him as likely to have a decent outing against Cincinnati, although giving up 7 hits in 7 innings is not dominant stuff whatsoever. The Pirates bullpen comes into this game looking, decent, we'll say, right around MLB average, so not a disaster. 3.96 bullpen ERA isn't awful, but looks like they're likely to have to end up in the game relatively early with Falter on the mound. At least there's a chance, so we're maybe a little bit concerned about that. We're more concerned about the Pirates bats, though. You never know what you're going to get from this offense, except for you usually know it's not going to be a lot. They weren't able to give Skeens any help in that game there. I mean, only a single run over 9 innings is pretty disappointing stuff. This offense hasn't been great this season. They're 28th in the majors in slugging percentage, 27th in the majors in on-base percentage. Just looking pretty bottom of the barrel to me. Not swinging the hottest bats right now, obviously, so big concerns about their ability to put up runs in this game, and they're going to have to score something here going up against the Reds, who just lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox. They're 36-41 on the season. Handing the ball in this game to Carson Spears. He is yet to figure in a result this year, sporting a 3.20 ERA. His last time out was a start. It was at Pittsburgh. He went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 earned runs. So not exactly dominant stuff, and now he's got to face this team again. Definitely some question marks in this one for me. In general, the Reds bullpen has been pretty decent. I mean, how much do we trust them to just shut this this Pirates team down? I think we can trust them. I mean, the Pirates offense is pretty awful. So if the Reds go late into this game with a lead, I think they're in a very, very good spot. Will they be able to get that lead, though? I've got some questions about this offense, guys. They've scored 4, 3, and 5 runs in their series against the Red Sox. In their series at Pittsburgh, they scored 0, 2 and 1 run respectively. So not very good offensively, just not a great offensive team this season. Despite getting to play in one of the most hitter-friendly environments for all of their home games, it's been a little bit rough. I mean, they're 20th in the majors in slugging percentage and 22nd in on-base percentage. Just not what I would tab as an elite offensive team. I mean, they have some troubles up there at the plate, and the odds makers don't seem super worried. I mean, this game is basically a coin flip. We've got the Pirates at -105. We got the Reds at -108. We have an over/under of 9.5 in this game, with both teams actually showing trends towards the under, which is kind of interesting. The Pirates are 18 and 20 on the road. The Reds are 19 and 21 at home, so not a lot of information to be gleaned from that. We saw both of these pitchers have some troubles going up against this opponent. So in general in this game, guys, I do think over 9.5 is in play. It seems like kind of a big number to be taking over, but this is at the Great American Ballpark. How much do we trust these two offenses, though? Maybe not enough. Overall, in terms of a side in this game, I don't have a huge lean here. I think I am going slightly towards Bailey Falter and the Pirates, but overall, guys, this seems like too close of a spot to call. Don't have a great read on either team. Don't trust either team, so it's mostly going to be a stay away spot for me. Moving right along here, guys, we got the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Blue Jays come into this game fresh off of a 6th straight loss. Things are getting pretty freaking rough there in Toronto, guys. Not a lot of positives to report. Now they've got to go on the road again. They're taking on the Red Sox, which probably doesn't feel great. The Blue Jays are handing the ball in this game to Chris Bassett. He is 6-6 this season with a 3.52 ERA. He's coming off a pretty good start there against the Red Sox. He went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits and 2 earned runs. Giving up 7 hits, not amazing, but we'll give him some credit there. He looked decent in that game, and he's looked decent or dominant in all of his last 5 starts. So things are looking up for him. Unfortunately for the Blue Jays, they have not been a very good bullpen team at all this season. So once he comes out of the game, kind of all bets are off here for the Blue Jays. Like their bullpen has a hard time hanging on to any lean, and man, their hitters not looking good, guys. They've scored 5, 3, 1, 3, and 3 runs respectively over their last 5 games. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. not having his best season. Just in general, this offense not looking great. 27th in the majors in runs scored, 23rd in the majors in team batting average, 25th in slugging percentage. Just up and down the roster, not a very good offense. And they're going to have to put up some runs here going up against a Red Sox team that's playing pretty well right now. They just closed out their series against the Cincinnati Reds with a win. They get to go back home for this series. So at 42 and 36, things are definitely pointed in a positive direction. They're handing the ball in this game to Tanner Houck, who is 7-5 this year with a 2.14 ERA. He's coming off of a good start there at Toronto, where he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, and 2 earned runs. He had 3 runs overall in a game we saw Boston win 4-3. He's looked serviceable in all of his last 5 starts, and we can't help but notice that the Red Sox are 5-0 over those starts. So things looking pretty good there for Houck, and in general, things are looking great for this Red Sox bullpen. They're now 5th in the MLB with a 3.45 bullpen ERA, so also nothing wrong with their bullpen, and the bats have looked alive recently, guys. They've scored 7, 4, 2, 7, 4, and 7 runs respectively in their series at Toronto. Just before their last series, they scored 7, 4, and 7 runs respectively, and that was on the road. So now they're back to the friendly confines of Fenway Park, so we will see how things go for their hitters there. I'm kind of expecting solid stuff. I mean, it's a top 10 offense statistically, so as long as they can keep that up, they should be in a pretty good way. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Blue Jays at +120, the Red Sox at -142. We have an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Toronto, not a great road team, guys. They are only 17-23 on the road. Boston, though, not a great home team. They're 18-20 at home. Have they faced some tough opponents at home? Sure they have, but is that excusable? I would say no. Also, the Red Sox have had some struggles this season, but not recently, guys. They're playing some of their best ball of the year. So looking at the numbers and looking at this matchup, I really think the Red Sox -142 are in a pretty decent spot. Even if they can't get to Bassett and put up a bunch of runs, I mean, the last time they faced him, they did get 7 hits in 6 innings, so they had their chances to score even more runs. I expect them to get to this Toronto bullpen. So go ahead and give me the Red Sox -142 in this game. I think this is a solid spot for them, despite the fact they're playing at home where they've had some struggles. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Braves come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there against the Yankees. Solid stuff from them. They're up to 43-32 on the season. They're handing the ball in this game to Spencer Schwellenbach, who's 1-2 this year with a 4.98 ERA. He's coming off of, I'd say definitely his best start of the season. His last 2 starts have actually been very, very good. He was very good there at Baltimore, going 6 innings, giving up 4 hits and 2 earned runs, and then he backed it up his last time out at home against Detroit, where he went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits and only only a single earned run. He got off to a rocky start. His first 2 starts this year were not great, but he has rounded into form and he's looking very good right now. In general, guys, the Atlanta bullpen has looked pretty decent. They're top 10 in the majors with a 3.59 bullpen ERA, so nothing too scary there. This offense hitting the ball pretty well. I mean, they scored 3, 3, 8, 7, 2, and 2 runs respectively over their last 6 games, so nothing terrible there. We've seen Marcell Ozuna lead the way for them all season long. They're 16th in the majors in runs scored, 8th in the majors in slugging percentage, so a pretty hard-hitting team here. Batting .245 as a squad, nothing wrong with that. This is a team that can definitely expect to score some runs. Will they be able to here going up against the Cardinals, who come to this game fresh off of a sweep there of the San Francisco Giants? They're 39 and 37 on the year, only 5 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers there in the NL Central. They're handing the ball in this game to Lance Lynn, who's 2 and 3 this season with a 4.08 ERA. Guys, he is in a bounce back spot. He looked terrible his last time out. It was at Miami. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 10 hits and 5 earned runs, 6 runs overall. He gave up 2 home runs in that game, and that all happened against the Miami Marlins. Not a very good team. So big questions for me here. What are we going to see from Lance Lynn in this game? I mean, yeah, it's a bounce back spot, but is he a guy that's capable of bouncing back? We'll just have to kind of wait and see. I've got my concerns about him, though, for sure. And I also have some concerns about the Cardinals bullpen. It's looked much better lately. That series against the Giants definitely helps. They're 15th in the majors now with a 3.93 ERA. So positive things from this Cardinals bullpen. But, man, right now, going against a team like the Braves, how much do we trust them? I mean, recently they've played the Padres, the Marlins, and the Cubs. And before that, they played the Pirates and the Colorado Rockies. So maybe some of this turnaround is just based on them having done well against terrible opponents. The offense has looked very good recently against the Giants. They killed the ball, scoring 5, 9, and 6 runs respectively. We see Mason Wynn hitting the ball well, Alec Burleson hitting the ball well. Like, this team looking pretty solid at the plate just at the moment. They are still only 24th in the majors in runs scored, though. 17th in batting average. That's a number that's climbing, but yeah, is this an offense that I super trust? I wouldn't say super trust, guys. This is not one of the better offensive teams in the majors, despite how they've been hitting the ball here over the last few days. So, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Braves at -120, the Cardinals at +114. We see the Braves are 19 and 19 on the road. The Cardinals are 19 and 15 at home. So, that's not bad. That's not too bad at all. In general, though, guys, looking at the over-under for this game, it's at 8.5. I don't hate the under in this spot. The Cardinals are 40, 33, and 3 to the under. The Braves are 43, 29, and 3 to the under. I also think this is a very reasonable, honestly very good no-run first inning spot, so definitely take a look at that. I'm also leaning towards the Braves -120 in this game. Do I like it enough to put it in the pin comment? I'm not exactly sure. There's a chance that I'll like some other stuff more, so we'll just have to wait and see, but I do think Atlanta can take advantage of Lance Lynn in this game and find a way to get a solid win. Next up, guys, we got the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. We see the Dodgers coming into this game fresh off of winning 1 out of 2 there against the Angels. They won game 2 of that series 7-2, so I'm sure they feel okay about that. They haven't been playing insane lately, but they are 48 and 31 this season, handing the ball in this one to James Paxton, who's 7-1 this year with a 3.65 ERA. He's coming off a great start there at the Colorado Rockies, where he went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits and only a single earned run. He struck out 8 in that game, so he looked very, very dialed in. He's throwing the ball well right now, no doubt about it. His last 2 starts have both looked great after having that weird outing there at Pittsburgh, so things seem to be back on track here for Paxton, and in general, they seem like they're back on track for the Dodgers bullpen. Also, they're 3rd in the majors with a 3.34 bullpen ERA, so absolutely nothing wrong with that. The bullpen's looked pretty good for them all season long. The question right now is the bats. I mean, Ohtani is just going absolutely nuts out there right now, but Mookie Betts being out is definitely something of a problem for this team, but they've scored 7, 2, 5, 6, and 11 runs respectively over their last 5, so clearly, it's not the end of the world. They're about to take on the Chicago White Sox, so maybe that will help a little bit. They hope they can put up some runs against the White Sox, obviously, who come into this game fresh off of an 11-2 loss to close out their series there at Detroit. They're 21 and 58 on the year, having a pretty rough time. They're handing the ball, though, to Garrett Crochet, who's 6 and 6 this year with a 3.25 ERA. He's coming off of one of his worst starts of the season. It was against the Houston Astros. He went 6 innings, gave 9 hits, and 3 earned runs. So when that's like one of your worst starts, things are looking pretty solid. The poor guy's having a tough time having a good record given that he's playing for such a terrible team. But, what can you do? He's going out there every day and giving their team a chance to win. So another problem for the White Sox has been their bullpen. One of the worst bullpens in the majors with a 4.78 bullpen ERA. And their offense, guys, that's the worst problem this team faces. They are the worst offense in the major leagues, and it's not particularly close. They are dead last in runs scored, dead last in team batting average. They are also last in on-base percentage and slugging percentage. This is just a terrible, terrible offensive team. No positives for me there. Not a lot to look at. We're not scared of anybody they're bringing up to the plate. Things are just looking very, very rough for this offense. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Dodgers at only minus 146. We see the White Sox at plus 124. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. We see the Dodgers are 22-15 on the road, which is solid. The White Sox are 13-25 at home. Obviously not great. We see the Dodgers basically a 500 over-under team. We see the White Sox at 40, 36, and 3 to the under. Not super interested in the under in this game necessarily, but I think this is a fantastic no-run first inning spot. I'm expecting Crochet to do well while he's on the mound. I'm expecting good things from James Paxton and terrible things from the White Sox offense. So go ahead and give me no-run first inning in this game. I also like the under through the first 5. That seems like a reasonable spot as well. Which one of these will end up in the pinned comment? I would guess it'll be the no-run first inning. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's what I like in this game by far the most. I think the Dodgers are pretty likely to win this game. So if you wanted to take them minus 146, I guess you could. But Crochet is a monster. Not really somebody I'm super interested at fading right now. Next on the docket, we've got the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals. The Marlins come into this game fresh off of a 6-4 win there at home against Seattle. They're up to 27-50 on the year. They have won 4 out of the last 5 games overall, but man, is this a good team? Seems like a bit of a stretch to me. They're handing the ball in this game to Rodri Munoz. He's 1-2 this season with a 5.76 ERA coming off of a very rough start there against the Cardinals. He went 4 innings, gave up 8 hits and 7 runs. 6 of them were earned. He gave up 3 home runs in that game. Definitely a guy that we worry about giving up a bunch of home runs. I mean, over his last 4 starts, he's given up a total of 9 home runs. Yeah. Pretty rough stuff there. Not a lot of positives for me to find here about Munoz. He's had his moments. He's only 24 years old, so you can expect some inconsistency for sure. And how deep can we expect him to go into the game? I would say not super deep at all. And that's going to put more pressure on this Marlins bullpen, which is among the worst in the major leagues. So not a lot of great things to say about their bullpen. They are freaking terrible. This offense has been finding a way to put up some runs recently, although they did get shut out in one of their games against the Mariners and scored 3 in the other one. They scored 6, 0, 3, 4, and 9 runs over their last 5 games. So has it been a disaster? I guess not recently, but over the course of the season, guys, they're 29th in the majors in runs scored and 29th in slugging percentage and on-base percentage. Just not a great team out there at the plate. Not a lot of positives to say about them there. They're going to have to find a way to put up some runs here against the Kansas City Royals, who come into this game fresh off of a tough 3-game series there at the Rangers. They got shut out over the last 2 games of that series. Only scored 2 runs overall in that entire series. Things have not been looking good for the Royals. They're down to 42-37 on the season. Just having a hard time. We just saw their manager miss a game for personal reasons. I think we can expect him to be back. Although either way, I don't think that's a huge problem. The Royals are going to be handing the ball to Cole Rangans in this game. He's 4-5 this year with a 3.13 ERA. He's coming off of a serviceable start there at Oakland where he went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. Start for that, he was good against the Dodgers. Start for that, he was great against Seattle Mariners. Start for that, he was great. Like, he's been very, very good, guys, and somehow he is only 1-4 over his last 5 starts. Or, I mean, the Royals are only 1-4 over his last 5 starts. That's pretty rough stuff. I think we can expect him to stay on track here. It doesn't seem like it's bothering him too much. He just goes out there, does what he can to put his team in a position to win. The Royals bullpen has been having its problems lately for sure. It's been part of the skid they've been dealing with. They're down to 13th in the majors with a 3.91 bullpen ERA. And the offense, guys, has obviously not been helping out. We talked about that already a little bit. I mean, 0-0, 2, 3, and 1 run respectively over their last 5 games. Not swinging the hottest bats. Over the course of the season, they've been a pretty good hitting team, definitely above average, but some big peaks and valleys for this squad. Are they going to get back on track? What are we going to see from Bobby Witt Jr. in this game? I think we can expect the Royals, who have been a very good home team, to get back on track coming home after a long road trip. Looking at the numbers for this one, we see the Marlins at plus 205. We see the Royals at minus 240. There's an over-under of 9.5 in this game. The Marlins are only 11-23 on the road. The Royals are 25-14 at home. Like I said, a much better home team than a road team. Are we super interested in taking the Royals as huge favorites like that? No, I don't think so, but we are interested in the Royals minus 1.5. Take them minus 1.5, you can get them at minus 115. Guys, this is a huge bounce back spot for the Royals. I think we're going to see their pitching staff come out and look great. I think we're going to see the hitters finally hit the ball again. Go ahead and give me the Royals minus 1.5. I think this is a great spot for them. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we've got the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. The Rangers come into this game riding a 4-game winning streak. They looked very, very good at home there against the Kansas City Royals. Now they've got to go on the road to take on the Brewers. They're hitting the ball in this game to Michael Lorenzen. He's 4-3 this year with a 3.00 ERA. He's coming off of a decent, maybe not elite start there against the Mets. He went 6 innings, he had 4 hits, and 3 earned runs. He did give up 2 home runs in that game, and it's been a little bit concerning, guys. He's given up 2, 1, and 2 home runs respectively over his last 3 games. He had a very good start there against the Dodgers. That was at the Dodgers, so that's pretty impressive. But his start against the Giants was kind of mediocre. I mean, he gave up 7 hits and 2 earned runs over 4 1/3 innings. Overall this season, though, he's looked very, very good. Not a lot of problems for me to find here with Lorenzen. Maybe he's not looking like he's at his absolute peak right now, but in general, definitely not a lot of problems. The Rangers bullpen, though, guys, they've been a little bit below average. A 4.01 bullpen ERA has me questioning how much this team can really hold on to a lead there when Lorenzen comes out of the game. So that's a bit of a concern. And the Rangers bats have been better recently, but not necessarily elite, not up to where they were. And I'm sure they're pumped to see Scherzer come out and looked good in that game. I mean, good for him. He threw 5 scoreless innings in his season debut, so he'll definitely take that. The Rangers have to be pumped to see that from him, but how good is this offense looking? I mean, they scored 4, 6, 6, and 5 runs respectively over this 4-game winning streak, so they'll definitely take that. Can they do better? I don't know. They're going to do much better, guys. I mean, they're 17th in the majors in runs scored, 18th in team batting average, batting .238 as a squad. They're not a great slugging percentage team. Like, this isn't exactly an offense that I'm super, super pumped about. They're going to have to find a way to score some runs going up against the Milwaukee Brewers, who come to this game fresh off of a tough series there at the San Diego Padres, guys. They only managed to win the last game of that series, so losing the series 3-1. They're 45-33 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Freddie Peralta, who's 5-4 this year with a 4.06 ERA. He was coming off of a desperately needed solid start there. It was at the Angels. He went 6 innings, gave 3 hits, and no runs. He struck out 8 and walked 2 in that one. Overall, he just looked very, very good. Not something we've seen a ton from him this season, though. He's definitely had his struggles, definitely had his problems. He's looking a little bit better after that start, but is he somebody that we super duper trust? I would say no. The Brewers bullpen, on the other hand, has been very good over the course of the season. Clearly a top 10 bullpen, a 3.79 bullpen ERA is very nice. Although they didn't exactly have the greatest time in this series against the Padres, they are getting back home, which probably feels pretty nice. This offense has been very good this season. I mean, they're 6th in the majors in runs scored, 5th in the majors in team batting average, 3rd in the majors in on-base percentage, getting on base at a .331 clip. But over their last few games, they've scored 6, 4, 5, and 6 runs respectively. Not exactly the level they want to be on, but, you know, not bad. You're scoring 6 runs a game. There's not a whole lot wrong with that. So look at the numbers for this game, guys. We see the Rangers at plus 140. We see the Brewers at minus 160. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. The Rangers are 17-21 on the road. We see the Brewers are 22-12 at home. That's pretty nice. We see mixed trends towards the over-under. Guys, if you think Peralta is going to have a good outing, I think this is another pretty reasonable no-run first inning spot. I'm tending to lean towards the Rangers plus 140 in this game just a little bit. I just think minus 160 is too expensive for the Brewers right now. The Rangers are playing some of their best ball of the season. Obviously, they're going on the road again, which hasn't been the best situation for them, and they're going up against a pretty decent team. So overall, will this be a game that I'm betting myself? I do not think so, but my lean is slightly towards the Rangers plus 140 with Lorenzen on the mound, but I think you could also take advantage of this one in terms of a no-run first inning. Next up, guys, we got the Oakland A's going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Angels. We see the A's come into this game fresh off of losing 2 out of 3 to the Minnesota Twins. They lost game 3 of that series, 3-0. They're down to 29-51 on the year, handing the ball in this game to Luis Medina. He is 1-2 this year with a 4.71 ERA. He's coming off a good start, though, against the Kansas City Royals. He gave only a single run over 5 2/3 innings. He did give up 6 hits, so, you know, not exactly like he was dominating out there, but he was looking pretty decent and definitely better than he has in, his last 2 starts where he got shelled at the Twins and didn't have a very good time at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. So definitely have our question marks about him. Definitely have our question marks about this Oakland bullpen. Maybe they've been just a hair better lately, but I mean, a 4.35 bullpen ERA and being 22nd in the majors doesn't exactly fill me with tons of optimism about them in the pen. And this offense, guys, leaves a lot to desire. They've scored 0, 2, 6, 2, and 5 runs respectively. Like, not a great hitting team. Obviously, 28th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors in team batting average, batting only .221 as a squad. Just not very positive stuff, guys. They're 28th in the majors in on-base percentage. yeah, this team, a lot of question marks for me about them. Just not a lot going on for them in a positive direction. They're taking on the Angels, who come into this game fresh off of winning 1 out of 2 there against the Dodgers, but another team not really headed in a great direction. They're 30-46 this season, handing the ball to Griffin Canning, who's 2-8 this year with a 5.02 ERA. Not amazing there. His last time out, he got shelled by the Milwaukee Brewers. Time for that, he gave up 4 earned runs over 6 innings against the Diamondbacks. Just not a starter that I have a ton of faith in, guys. He's had his moments this season, I suppose, but yeah, just not somebody that I'm super stoked to see out there on the mound. Also, the Angels have one of the worst bullpens in the major leagues. A 4.78 bullpen ERA has them 24th, so yeah, way down there towards the bottom of the league. Not a lot of positives about this pitching staff, and not a ton of positives about this offense either, guys. They're 24th in the majors in runs scored, 24th in the majors in on-base percentage. They've scored 2, 3, 0, 3, and 5 runs, respectively, over their last few games. Just straight up not having a very good time this season. Mike Trout going out is obviously a big hit for them, and yeah, just things not looking great. We see the Angels are 12-25 at home. That's an MLB worst record. The A's are 11-28 on the road. The A's are plus 105 in this game, and the Angels are minus 122. Guys, I don't like this game at all. This seems awful. There's not an over-under that I'm interested in. Go ahead and give me the A's plus 105. Maybe they get a weird win in this game going up against Canning, but overall, this is not a spot that I like at all. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Nationals come to this game fresh off of a gutty 2-1 win there at Colorado. Thank you, Nationals, for coming through in that one. They are 38-39 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Patrick Corbin, who's 1-7 this year with a 5.60 ERA. He is coming off of back-to-back very good starts there. He went at Detroit and went 5 1/3, gave up only a single earned run. Then he had a good start at home against the Diamondbacks. Not the worst hitting team, guys. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, and only a single earned run in that one as well. I would honestly say that 4 out of his last 5 starts have been pretty reasonable. We do see that the Nationals are only 1-4 over his last 5 starts, so it's a bit of a concern. This Nationals bullpen, though, guys, honestly, they're looking pretty good. They're up to 12th in the majors with a 3.86 bullpen ERA. Not terrible. Definitely some positives to be found there. And the bats, I'm not going to say they're like wide awake. They've scored 2, 7, and 11 runs, respectively, in their series at Colorado. So how are they going to do going at San Diego? We'll just have to see. CJ Abrams leading the way for them pretty solidly. I mean, a 270 batting average with 12 home runs and 39 RBIs, though, not exactly going to get me freaking out. This team is 21st in the majors in runs scored. They are 26th in the majors in slugging percentage. They're getting on base at a 304 clip. That's obviously not great. So we have our questions here about the Nationals. They're going to have to figure out something here going up against the Padres, who just won 3 out of 4 there against the Milwaukee Brewers. They're 41-41 on the season. They've been hovering around that 500 mark an awful lot. They're handing the ball in this one to Matt Waldron, who's 5-6 this year with a 3.46 ERA. He's coming off of, I would say, at least his 5th good start. He had a very good outing there at the Phillies, where he went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, only a single earned run. That is a very, very premium start against a very tough opponent. So I think we can feel really good about how Matt Waldron is throwing the ball right now. No doubt about that. In general, guys, the Padres bullpen has been a bit below average, a 4.10 bullpen ERA. Not great, but I would say they're slightly rounding into form. They're having a little bit better of a time recently, although they had to win some pretty sketchy games there against the Brewers, so not exactly a bullpen that I am super stoked about. The Padres bats came alive a little bit here. I mean, obviously they ended the series with a whimper, scoring only 2 runs, but they've scored 2, 6, 9, 7, and 5 runs respectively over their last 5 games. So, that could be okay. Tatis was out of the lineup there for Sunday's game, so we were a little bit worried about him. He's dealing with a triceps problem. You all, I'm sure, saw him get hit by that pitch, so we'll see if he's going to be ready to go for this game. Like I said, currently listed as day-to-day, so we'll just have to wait and see if he's going to be available for this one. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Nationals at plus 190, the Padres at minus 218. We got an over-under in this game of 8.5. Looking at the Padres minus 1.5, if you're interested in that side. If you take a minus 1.5, you can get them at plus 100. And with Matt Waldron on the mound, I think that's pretty appealing, guys. I think we can expect the Padres offense to put up some runs here. Obviously, I would love to see that Tatis is going to play in this game. We'll just kind of have to wait and see, though. I mean, he's marked day-to-day, so we don't really know. But if he plays, I think the Padres minus 1.5 is a very solid value there at plus 100. I mean, they've got their best starter on the mound, and he's been fantastic fantastic lately, and the Nationals not exactly a great offense. Last but not least, guys, we're just going to quickly touch on the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants. We saw the Cubs take the loss there in game 3 of their series against the Mets, losing 5-2. They're 37-41 on the year. They're handing the ball in this game to Justin Steele, reportedly, who's 0-3 this year with a 3.16 ERA. He's coming off a pretty solid start there against the Giants, and in general, over his last 5 starts, he's looked very, very good. So definitely expect some positive things from him. The Cubs bullpen hasn't been a complete disaster. They've been right there around league average, so not too worried about that. The offense for this team, though, has been a big problem. Obviously, they did have that game where they scored 8 runs against the Mets, but in that series in general, they scored 2, 8, and 1 runs respectively. So not the hottest hitting team right now, and not the hottest hitting team in general this season. I mean, they're 25th in batting average and 14th in on-base percentage. So, take the good with the bad there. In terms of their opponent in this game, the Giants, they have now lost 5 straight games. We do not know who they're going to be starting for this game. I would assume that's why there's no lines out for this one as of yet. The Giants, I mean, in general, guys, their team pitching hasn't been amazing. It's been a bit below average, to be honest. So some concerns there for sure. They're a decent hitting team. In general, the Giants bullpen has been below average for sure. I mean, a 4.53 ERA is pretty sketchy. So looking at no numbers for this game in general, we're probably going to be leaning towards the Cubs once we find out who the Giants are actually going to be putting on the mound. But this is kind of a wait-and-see situation. We're also worried about the Cubs. They're only 15-23 on the road. So just kind of have to wait and see in this one, wait and see what the numbers are, and wait and see who the Giants starter is. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out StumpTheSpread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.